Wow, now I really can't wait to talk to you guys about this one. Hey guys, welcome back to my Jurassic Park Raptor Comics series. This is part 8 of 10, so if you aren't caught up on the story, please make sure to check out the Raptor Comics playlist on the channel, and then come back and watch this episode. So we last left off with Grant, Malcolm, and Muldoon just getting reunited with Ellie, and the Raptors have just been approached by a mysterious woman who's been watching them from a safe distance, until now. The old woman gestures hand signals to the Raptors in what appears to be an attempt to communicate with the beasts. The Raptors don't seem to be backing down from the woman, and the two men on board her helicopter aren't taking a liking to the situation. Her name is revealed to be Dr. Belvedere, and the men inform her that they'll shoot the Raptors if they have to in order to prevent her from being attacked. She reassures them that it will be unnecessary, but as soon as she's done speaking to the Raptors, they lunge at the doctor and the men raise their guns. She demands them to back down and continues to motion her hand signs of peace, and remarkably, the animals begin to do the same. The two men can't believe what they're seeing, as even though Belvedere is the world's leading expert on animal communication, no one has ever attempted this with dinosaurs before. She learned everything there was to know about gorillas, and brought one to the Amazon in an effort to learn more about the apes than previously known. The men go into a private discussion now about the state of their personal affairs. They haven't been doing any work on dinos since they hired that fat guy to steal embryos from Jurassic Park, giving us an all too familiar clue as to who these men really are. Across the globe, we travel to BioSyn. Night has descended upon the genetics company, and secret forces accompany it under the cover of darkness. Once the men enter the area, they scale the wall and leave behind a timed device set for 60 seconds on the roof of the complex. Unfortunately, the men are caught in their flight from the building, and a firefight ensues between the BioSyn security forces and these unnamed trespassers. The clock continues to count down, the battle rages, and lives are lost. One foreign invader shouts for his comrades to get down, but the words register too late for the defending side to react. The men take their wounded and make their way out of BioSyn's territory. Meanwhile, John Hammond is awoken from the ring of his phone at 3 in the morning. Check out the Crichton Easter egg on his bed. He picks up the phone only to be assaulted with verbal harassments from a man named Bill Steingarten, the head of BioSyn himself. He accuses Hammond of sending in InGen parasites, which sabotage his main plant, to which John answers with a sly remark that he thought BioSyn was the company to have the market cornered on parasites. Hammond yawns and asks if Bill lost anything valuable in the attack, and Steingarten replies that he damn well did, but that's nothing to reveal to John at this point. 6 guards died in the battle, and Bill calls this a terrible tragedy. Oh, genetics seems to be a more dangerous business as each day passes, Hammond responds. Why, he himself just had a nature preserve in Costa Rica get repeatedly sabotaged. He tells the man to sleep tight, and folds his hands behind his head, quite content with life. Back in the Amazon, Dr. Belvedere seems to continue to work with the Raptors with little opposition. She realizes that Celia is carrying eggs, yet is greeted with a warning snap from Alf, who doesn't fully trust these pale apes touching their kind. The doctor slaps Alf back on the nose, which causes the BioSyn troops to become understandably shocked at such a move. Alf rears up and takes a defensive stance, unsure of how to proceed, but the doctor is able to signal peace again, and let the animals know her standing amongst them is not hostile, and simply social. Celia then begins to venture further into the tree line of the jungle and, interestingly, begins to make a nest. Alf watches the humans cautiously while she does this. The two men discuss their admiration of the woman and say if they were ever in a war, they'd want her on their side. They then get a ping from their superior, who happens to be Steingarten himself. Bill asks if these two men, now named Charlie and Ross, if they still have intel on where InGen's people are in the jungle. They of course confirm their knowledge, and the commander orders them to wipe them all out, and to get ready for a new man to take charge of the area. The men tell Belvedere they have to leave, and asks if the Raptors will be fine while they fire the helicopter up for liftoff. She assures them that it will be alright, and the men take off for their grim mission. Elsewhere, Grant and the others continue their trek on the lookout for the Raptors. Ian becomes noticeably sick though, and Ellie shows concern for the chaotician. Grant jokingly implies to Muldoon that maybe they should radio the chopper and get him out of the jungle in order to stop his current fever, but Malcolm assures him that it'll be just fine. Ellie takes Malcolm by the arm and promises to walk with him in their trek just to keep his spirits up, much to the disapproval of Alan. Muldoon and Grant ponder this oddity before they are assaulted with gunfire from BioSyn's chopper. Alan asks who the hell that is, and Muldoon fills them in on BioSyn and their rivalry with InGen. The group duck down underneath the cover of the jungle after intense gunfire rains over them from above. When the shooting stops, Grant assesses the damage and asks if everyone made it, with Sattler questioning where Robert could be amongst them. Muldoon answers this question with a simple assurance he'd be back in a minute. BioSyn's forces search for the doctors below and only find Muldoon standing there, alone, challenging the men to make their move. Gunfire then starts to assault the ground underneath Muldoon, until The hunter's aim gave the back rotor of the chopper a direct hit and sends the flying vessel falling down to the earth in a violent crash. The scientists applaud Muldoon for this victory. Ellie says that if they survive, they certainly won't mess with them again, while Grant thinks that taking them captive as corporate POWs would make better sense. Robert just says that he'll be back soon. Charlie and Ross dart out of the jungle and evade the explosion the helicopter's just been engulfed in. The men lament that it's going to be a hot and thirsty walk back to Belvedere without any of their supplies. Muldoon's voice is heard from the bushes ahead, reassuring them not to worry about it. The men assault the bushes with bullets, but it's going to take more than blind shooting to put Muldoon away. The men search the jungle for any sign of the hunter, when he suddenly jumps out of the tree over their heads and holds one of them hostage with his knife. He tells the man that if he shoots his buddy, he'll get another chance. The troop eventually does just that, and Robert orders his hostage to drop the gun, which scares the man into uttering the words, "But you said..." Muldoon said he'd give him another chance, and he is. The troop points out that his enemy still has a knife, but Muldoon tosses it aside, and makes it known that this combat will be held man-to-man. As soon as it's dropped, the last BioSyn warrior lunges at Jurassic Park's game warden and declares him to be too old for that kind of stuff. Muldoon responds with a simple, maybe. Maybe not. After returning to his friends, Robert is given the rundown on the damage done by BioSyn. The bullets destroyed their radio, and Ian's fever is getting worse. With no way to call their chopper and the realization they're stuck in Raptor country, the group can't think of anything that would make this predicament they're in any worse. Meanwhile, Belvedere and the Raptors hear a motor of a vehicle approaching their area. The Raptors show a visible level of concern, but the doctor calms them down and reassures them that it's just a helicopter coming back. Out from the chopper, none other than Dr. Fisher introduces himself to Belvedere. He's pleased to have her assistance in this matter, but he's going to take charge of this operation now. Now that was a really good issue. I was beginning to wonder if Dr. Fisher was just a throwaway character they created at the beginning of the arc, but it's so satisfying to see them reintroduce him this far into the story. The fighting Muldoon took part in, as well as the corporate battle between BioSyn and InGen featured earlier, was excellent, and all in all, I really think this is my favorite part of the story so far. Previously, the second issue was the one I really enjoyed, but now I can't understate how much I appreciated this part of the story, and how original and fun it was. Hopefully the last few issues will continue to be this awesome. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and if you did, I'd appreciate it if you left me a like, and hope you consider subscribing if you haven't already so that you can see me again. I'll see you all in the next video, and as always guys, take it easy.